right on camera now is the famous Wimpie from Merwe. Wimpie, you have now put data into the computer. What are you able to get out of that?
Steve, I think it's important for sportsmen to be able to have a user-friendly resource to be able to interpret his training and to get certain information immediately available. Not everybody has a laboratory like this available to be able to test. So what I have is a heart rate monitor, which I download the information into a portable computer, which I then can display onto a screen to see what I've done. Now, what I have here is the graph of my 24-hour world record attempt, which can tell me exactly that I've been functioning between 120 and 130 beats per minute. And eventually, I'm able to have a statistical analysis by the software, seeing that the yellow zone is the time I've spent within the specific heart rate zone, which means that I have succeeded in doing it. But which means too that in the green portion, I could still have worked harder. So that's why I know I will be able to better 902 kilometers in 24 hours, possibly do 1,200. And the laboratory would enable me through a specific training program to be able to have that possible in the near future.
Just looking at the green zone, just looking at the green zone, obviously rest is an important part of one's training, as long as you don't overdo the rest. How do you know how much of the green zone should be in your training and how much of the red zone should be in your training?
I think that's one of the most neglected points of a sportsman, and that is most of us are overtrained. Now, having a user-friendly heart rate monitor, you are able to evaluate how much time you're spending at certain heart rate zones. But again, knowing now from 9 months of data which I've accumulated, I can see if you have to take a pyramid, how much time I've spent in a certain heart rate and going up towards where you at peak intensity. I could actually see, plan ahead, a week ahead, say I need to know 10 hours are going to be spent in this hour, in this zone, 5 hours in that. So eventually you get an ideal graph from which to work off. And it is important then to prevent yourself from overtraining or undertraining, that you be able to use the parameters being set down, which has been done within the blood tests, so that you know exactly which between lactate values you should be training optimally.
But we are all human, and there are the days where you might not just feel like going out and giving it your hardest when you know according to the graphs that you should be. How do you then approach that?
I know that is the one where we have that guilt feeling, it's raining, or you don't want to go out. I think if you have been succeeding with your training program by being exactly where you ought to be, it's no problem that if you have to skip that day or have to do it less intense, because you know what you have to pick up tomorrow. But many people start training harder because they're doing worse, and that's exactly the snowball effect of overtraining.
So you're happy then, as an athlete, that with the software it's allowing you to train more effectively?
I'm totally happy with what I have here, and luckily as we progress, people are actually updating it, and we're getting more and better information that's being able to be taken along. Like when we go to Europe, we'll be able to use a portable notebook computer so that you can actually transfer the information back to South Africa to the laboratory by fax, and then have it interpreted and be sent back within an hour or two for evaluation, and that you could use it in competition.
So we really are living in the high-tech age in sport.
Well, we live in the space age.